Get your towers up. Get your towers up. Still a nation and roll it around your head.
Yo, what's up, everybody? We back, Towers Up Podcast. We took a little week off, but we back this week. And man, what's up, fellas? How y'all been?
Oh, good, man. Good. Can't complain. Hey, alive and well.
Exactly.
Been
JJ?
chilling, man.
Bet.
Yeah, I've been chilling, man. Been chilling.
Cool. That's what's up. Well, look, we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to cover some of the things that's going on around the league a little bit, mostly with the Steelers and a lot of this, injustice and rioting stuff that's going on and how the organization's kind of, handling things. And plus, we're heading back into the facility this week with the COVID thing kind of easing up a little bit. And we're also going to talk about Hines Ward and why he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. And even does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame right now? Some of us say he does, some of us say he doesn't, and we're going to find out. But let's just start out, fellas. We know, just real quick, some quick NFL news. We know Drew Brees got some hot water, man. The Steelers came out. Art Rooney II came out with a statement about all the stuff that's going on in the world right now that we know about. And, Ben had something to say. Juju had some things to say. So what did y'all think about some of the comments and statements the Steelers organization and players had to say about, things that's going on in the world?
Yeah, that was interesting to hear Drew Brees' thoughts. I'm glad he apologized.
Yeah.
And I think this apology was sincere. It sounded like it was. I don't think he was thinking about the context of the times which we're living in right now when he said what he said. Um, but people see the flag differently. The flag doesn't represent everything that it says it represents to some people. And so, and if those things are true, um, there's going to be issues until we resolve those. And so, sometimes we got to think about that part of it when guys are kneeling and respect that. And the flag does represent a free country where we are able to protest. And so, when people protest, they're rallying behind our rights behind that flag. So
Yeah.
um, that's my thoughts on it.
What you think, JJ?
Yeah, I think he just that was how he felt. I think he just said the wrong thing at the wrong time. The guy who was questioning him kind of set him up because he asked him about the flag. He didn't necessarily really ask him about George Floyd and what he thought about all that. But I'm glad he apologized about everything. And some people think it's sincere, some people don't. We'll never know. But yeah, it was the wrong time to say what he said. Really.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you guys, man. Just real quick on Drew Brees, man. I had a chance to meet the guy a few years ago, and I don't think he's a bad guy. When I met him, he was real cool, real nice guy, man. We talked for a few minutes, had a couple laughs, and I think, like you said, he might have been set up, and I think he just didn't expound on the situation like he could have. The apology, that's good to come back out with that and clean that up, but just got to be careful, man, and got to be careful what you say. The media set you up, but hopefully his teammates got his back. It seemed like Michael Thomas was able to get his back and accept his apology. But our quarterback, he didn't. He said a little something. And he kind of kept it more politically correct. Talking about the injustice in the system and how things should change. And hopefully our squad, kind of responds in a good way with our team. Of course, most of the NFL is black players, and Art Rooney came out with a statement and talked about the Steelers organization. So hopefully, this NFL season is going to be very interesting as far as how the protests go and how the guys continue to protest against the flag or however they feel like they want to do it. So, but if ain't no more thoughts on that, man, just want to move on and let's talk about Hines Ward, man, and why he's not in the Hall of Fame right now. I think JJ had some thoughts on that, man. What's your thinking behind why Hines Ward is not going or not in the Hall of Fame right now?
Yeah, I just think in the era he played in, it was kind of unfair to him, just in terms of it wasn't as much passing as it is today. So he couldn't really rack up the kind of stats that it would take for him to get in during this time. Because now you're seeing guys that have retired in this era whose times are about to come up. Calvin Johnson, Andre Johnson. Larry Fitzgerald's probably going to retire in a few years. So guys like that. Hines Ward's stats doesn't even touch those type of guys' stats, but he didn't play in their era. In this era, that there's a lot more passing. It's a lot more. The NFL wants more offense, and back when Hines Ward played, it wasn't really quite like that. And so does he really deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? I mean, I don't really think so. I don't think he was a Hall of Fame player. I think he was a Hall of Fame type of player for the organization. But as far as just for the league, I don't think he was, that type of wide receiver. But I may be in the minority with that. But that's just how I feel when I watched him play.
Yeah, you're part of the younger generation too, so you didn't really get to see him. You saw him later in his career as well. When did he come in the league? In '96 or '98?
He
He
came
came
in
in.
'98.
Yeah, '98. So
Yeah.
I kind of remember his. I wouldn't say his whole career, but I do remember a good bit of it. And JJ, you're right in the sense of stat wise. Stat line wise, his stats really don't add up, especially to a couple of those guys that you named and those receivers that are already in the Hall of Fame and the ones that are coming up. Um, but the stat that I like that really doesn't get counted much is that heart stat, man. I mean, Hines Ward had a lot of heart, and he made some key
Yeah.
blocks. He was a dirty receiver in the sense of he liked to get dirty. He liked to
Right.
get out there and block people, and he the one that kind of really got that going, man. You talk to a lot of receivers, they'll tell you Hines Ward was the one that made them want to block more because he was out there breaking people's jaws when he blocked people.
Yeah.
So, but that's a stat that don't get, that's not going to get counted for Hall of Fame votes. But he was a fan favorite, and I'm kind of borderline, I guess. I could see why you got a case for him not being in the Hall of Fame, but I can also see why uh, you have a case for him that could possibly get in the Hall of Fame, and maybe even a little later than what he's already been waiting. You know what I mean? But I know Al, has probably some more thoughts on that because you probably understand him a little deeper because you see him a little bit more, his career a little bit more. So what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, like his first half of his career, I mean, Hines Ward, he had like, I think I just counted 4 1,000-yard seasons in his first 6 or 7 years, and then some of his seasons after that, he almost got 1,000 yards. So he's had really good years, man. And then, like I say, he's known. Hines Ward has always been known for his physicality, man. This dude, he loves contact, and he has been very intricate into the success of the Steelers. And we have to remember, even with all the numbers he does have, he also hoisted the MVP in a
Yeah,
Super Bowl victory. That's saying a lot. To when you add that to the things that he has done for the Steelers with the blocking and the short yardage catches to keep drives alive, this intricate stuff that keeps a team winning and perhaps winning Super Bowls and playoff games. So, his numbers might not be the greatest as far as yards and all that. He wasn't some, one receiver wonder for a quarterback every Sunday. But the things that he did was very important and necessary for the Steelers to win like they did in the Cowher years. And I don't know if the receivers that have better numbers than Hines Ward played with the same physicality.
yeah,
Maybe they didn't block as well or didn't block at all. But he was a pure football player playing wide receiver. And to me, a guy like that should be considered for the Hall of Fame.
yeah. And I
Well,
think.
yeah. Uh,
Oh, go
Go ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. He's definitely been considered for a lot of years, but the bottom line is he's probably just not going to get in. I mean, when you look at his play, yeah, he was a physical receiver, but he wasn't a receiver that was going, one that was going to be one of the best in the NFL. Like he wasn't. If Hines Ward was playing today, he would probably be a number 3 wide receiver at best.
Well,
You
here's
know, it,
here's the thing though, because you put who's going to make their team better, Hines Ward or some of these other receivers that have better numbers? Because you can put Hines Ward on a team, a random team,
Yeah,
and just because of his style of play, that team's going to be better.
gonna be
He's
better.
going to make a
right,
big
right,
difference.
right. Of course,
Agreed.
the team's gonna be better. But if you would you rather have Calvin Johnson? Would you rather have Hines Ward? Would
I'd
you rather
rather. I don't
have?
know. I don't know. I got to think about
You,
that.
oh,
Seriously, if I got a team,
Hey.
if I got Hines Ward, he means a lot.
Oh man.
yeah.
That dude
Hey,
means a lot.
he do. But here's what I was gonna say
Did you
though,
hear? Wait,
because.
hold on. We're not just gonna skip past that.
Oh
He
man,
just
that's a
said.
good question though. I mean,
No, that's a good question. I
yeah, I
mean,
It's
look,
not a
mean,
good. No, it's an easy question, Derek. Would you rather have Calvin Johnson or
oh
Hines Ward?
man, if I only got to pick one,
and so in their primes,
You
right? In their
in their
yeah.
primes.
primes,
Yeah.
yes. Come on
Listen,
now.
man, for me,
In their primes, I don't
It's
know.
Calvin.
I don't
well,
know. I gotta think
listen,
Come
about that
on,
one.
for
man.
me,
Did you see Calvin Johnson in his prime?
for me, I don't
How
have
many
to think
Super Bowl
about it.
appearances has Calvin Johnson got? How many playoffs wins does he
Yeah,
have?
he played for the
Yeah, but
Lions though.
he plays for the
Well, I don't
Lions.
know. I mean, so what?
That has more to
But
do with the team than anything.
yeah, I mean, to me, that's a no
And then
question, man. I mean,
you
Calvin
can't.
Johnson,
Well,
6'4",
that's
235, running a 4.4
Exactly.
40. I'm not. I
Right.
mean, I'm not picking. I can't pick over. You can't pick Hines Wood over
Right.
Calvin Johnson
Right.
as a receiver, as a pure receiver. Now, as a football player, you're right. Oh, is a pure
You were
football
asked.
player?
I was asked who would I put if I had to choose between them guys in their primes to help me with my football team. Which one am I going to choose?
Yeah.
And I would have to think about that because
That
Hines Ward
nah,
brings a lot to the table.
I mean, that's fair. I mean,
that's
he
crazy.
does,
That's
but
What if your
crazy. That's
quarterback?
crazy. That's crazy.
Listen though, JJ. What if your quarterback is not even that good? Hines Ward is going to help him because he makes a lot of short yardage
And
catches. He blocks a lot, and he's a great leader.
and Calvin Johnson's not gonna help him.
yeah, you just throw the ball up
No,
to him.
Come on, man.
he-
Go look at Calvin Johnson's highlights. That dude was getting triple team and still
Yeah,
catching balls.
yeah.
Calvin Johnson ain't doing that.
Calvin Johnson's was like Claypool. Well, hopefully Claypool can be like the next
Right.
Calvin Johnson. You know, with
Yeah,
that kind of
I
size
know
and stuff
who
like
Calvin
that.
Johnson is. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying I know who Hines Ward is too because
Yeah.
I seen Hines Ward play in his early days, man, and he brought a whole nother skill set to the receiver position. These other receivers that are out here balling, they didn't bring that skill set. It was unheard of for receivers to be clobbering people.
To be clobbering
We
linebackers.
had defenders trying to hurt Hines Ward,
Yep.
but linebackers trying to hurt him because he's just blasting people and smiling about it, man.
Right. But that's not getting you to the Hall of Fame. I mean,
But it wins you football games and it wins you
Right.
Super Bowls too.
Right, but the
So-
conversation is about him getting into the Hall of Fame.
Now
It's
here-
not about winning Super Bowls.
Now,
that does count.
Now here's the
Yeah,
other
let's
question.
go.
So here's another question too. Now I can't remember if Hines Ward ever was he ever the number one receiver on the team?
I think so at the time,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
He was
at the time
okay.
he was.
That's what.
Absolutely
Yeah,
he was.
I can't quite remember. I want
I
to
think-
say he was, but I can't remember when and who else. Who were the other
I mean,
receivers
you
at the
gotta
time?
remember,
But,
okay,
but,
y'all
but
talking about,
wasn't
listen,
that?
hold on.
But
Y'all-
I think that was until Plax came, right?
You
Once
guys
Plax came, he wasn't the number one receiver, was he?
Well, Plax turned into the number one when Plax came.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, when Hines Ward came to the Steelers, they weren't a great team.
And
Just
who was the
when Calvin-
quarterback?
just like when Calvin Johnson went to the Lions, they weren't a great team.
They
Y'all
were
are
never a
assuming
great
that
team.
The Steelers were always a great team, and Hines Ward just joined them. No,
But who-
he helped create what
and-
we see today.
And who was his quarterbacks when he was there? Hines
Cordell
Ward.
Stewart.
Cordell Stewart, what, 98 to 2000? Ben got there in 04, right? So
Cordell
from
Stewart now.
so from 98 to
He's a
04,
good quarterback.
you had Cordell Stewart and Tommy Maddox. You had
Tommy
Tommy
Maddox.
Maddox.
Right. Tommy
Who
Maddox.
is Tommy Maddox?
Who is Tommy Maddox?
Right.
So
I
I
like
mean,
Tommy Maddox though. He
yeah,
ball out.
he
until
did all
threw
right,
that pick.
right? So
He be going off until he threw that interception.
and so that's another thing you got to consider too with Hines Ward, man. He ain't always because you got these receivers, man. They had a receiver like Randy Moss. Even Calvin Johnson had what's his name? Who's over there at the line? Matthew Stafford. He had a young Matthew Stafford, but Matthew Stafford was still a decent quarterback. Randy Moss went through a myriad of quarterbacks, but he always had a quarterback with a strong arm, like a Jeff George and a Dante Culpepper and Randall Cunningham and them guys. And you start naming off Hines Ward quarterbacks. I mean, he did well when Ben finally got to him. He had a young Ben.
What if he had Ben
So,
the whole time?
matter of fact,
wouldn't be a discussion probably.
Well, no, when you look at Hines Ward, the way he plays, man, there was no way he was going to be on those guys' level. There's no way he was going to be on the level.
I'm not saying he's on anybody's level. I'm saying the skill set he possessed is rare. It's not, I don't think it was very common.
Well,
it definitely wasn't, especially back then. It was not because you didn't see receivers doing that.
And it was very efficient in winning football games.
Yeah, because he was a good possession guy.
That has to be considered.
Because when you needed a first down, everybody knew Pittsburgh. When they needed a big first down, everybody knew the ball was going to Hines Ward, and there was not much anybody could do to stop it either.
Right, but that's not getting to the Hall of Fame. That's all.
That's not. It should be considered. The Hall of Fame should consider your body of work, like your entire body of work.
When you look at his body of work,
not just your pass numbers or whatever.
When you look at his body of work,
category that you blew out the water.
But his body of work isn't even.
The Hall of Fame is representing the NFL, the National Football League, the football game itself at the highest level played.
I mean, come on,
if a guy brings to the table a lot of things concerning that stuff, he should be considered.
But I mean, if we're really talking, Hines Ward might have been the best receiver to ever play for Pittsburgh.
Say it again.
Hines Ward isn't even the best wide receiver to ever play for Pittsburgh.
No, he's not. I wouldn't. No.
So come on, you can't put a guy in the Hall of Fame like that. I mean, come on.
But it's not like he's been a first ballot. That's my thing. It's not like he's a first ballot. How long he been retired? What, 11? So this is 9 years, man. So
that's what I'm saying. He's probably not getting in. I mean, when you look at it, he's been waiting for too long.
How long do they have to get in? I think. What is it? How many years is it after they retire? How many times do they? I forget how many it is that goes.
I think they have to be retired 5 years, and then they can start.
But I'm saying,
trying to get in. But I don't know how long.
Yeah.
I think it's like forever. I think because some people.
Oh, is it?
Wait. I think so.
Okay, well,
I'm not sure though. But
and see, that's the thing. If there's no time limit, man, then he probably can go. That's how I'm
right.
looking at it. If there's no, he's not like he a first ballot Hall of Famer. Or anything. We knew he wasn't that. You know, I'm not even. You know, I don't mean to jump topics, but I'm not even sure Ben gonna be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean,
Are you? Hold
maybe,
on, man. Hold
maybe.
on, man.
I mean,
Are you serious?
when I think first ballot Hall of Famer, man, I'm thinking Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? Peyton Manning, Drew
What?
Brees, those
Well,
guys. But
yeah,
Ben, man,
Ben's not in
no,
that.
Ben
he's
is definitely he's
Ben
first
is
ballot.
he's
definitely.
been
Ben,
sliding.
you know,
You're
remember
tripping.
I think I said last week on the show that NFL is going to be better off than Ben Roethlisberger. Then later on, I heard somebody on TV say the same thing. Ben Roethlisberger, man, you know, he's one of them guys that has aged like fine wine. Like they didn't appreciate Ben back in the day because you remember he never went to the Pro
Yeah,
Bowls at first because he
he
was always
didn't.
getting beat out by Peyton Manning
Yep.
or Tom Brady for the Pro Bowl appearances. But later in Ben's career, he started to get recognized as a veteran, you know, fine wine type quarterback. And so he got to go to the Hall of Fame, man. I mean, he got Super Bowl appearances. He
Well,
got
he'll
Super
go.
Bowl
I'm just saying
victory.
first ballot. I'm saying he definitely gonna go. But I mean that first after
Yeah,
that
first
5 years is
ballot. I
up.
think it'll be first ballot.
Yeah, it'll be first ballot. You can't. Come on now. The guy
Nobody
has
can.
two. He
People
has two
can't
Super
compare
Bowl
to Tom
rings.
Brady and
Come on.
Peyton Manning. They're just out of
Two
the water.
two Super Bowl rings, a game-winning Super Bowl touchdown drive and touchdown.
Oh my
He's
God.
one of the first quarterbacks as a rookie to go 15-1. And he's
Yeah.
not going to be in the Hall of Fame. That's crazy. Come on.
Now I ain't say he was gonna be in the Hall of Fame. I said first ballot.
I mean,
So
that's first ballot.
He had the
Yeah,
most
he's
fourth
first
quarter
ballot. You can't.
comebacks, I think, at
He's
one
one.
time.
He's one of the best quarterbacks of this era. You got
Well,
Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. Then who else? Aaron Rodgers. Then who else? Big Ben.
Big Ben would have been the best in the AFC had he not been in there with the best two guys in the whole world in the history of the game.
And the thing is, he has two Super Bowls. Peyton Manning has two Super Bowls, and then Tom Brady got the most. So all three of those going to the Hall of Fame.
yeah, they going. Ain't no doubt about it. They go
First
Hines
ballot,
Ward
first
right
ballot.
there. See that?
First ballot.
There's a
Why not,
Hines
man?
Ward catch right
That's what
there.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
there
don't
you
know
go.
how. I don't know how you said that. First ballot. He ain't going first ballot. That's crazy.
I don't know, man. I just I listen. I just be doing it by the eye test, man. Looking at the numbers, like you said, he may go first ballot
I
by
mean,
looking
if
at the
you look at the
numbers.
eye test, look at the numbers. Come
He's
on
had a
now.
couple 5,000-yard seasons. What? He's had two of those,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
So
heck
Yeah.
yeah. Two of
Come on
them.
now.
yeah.
But you have to, like I said, you got to get the whole body of work with these players. We need to talk about Hall of Fame, and Ben has
And you
put
gotta
in
look
a
at
lot
errors,
of work,
too.
man. He's put in a lot of work. You look
Yeah.
at his style. First of all, Ben's style of play was
Yeah.
unheard of.
It
You
was.
know, he was inventing a new skill set with that kind of running around and looking back while he's running, and that play two-hand touch stuff in the street that we used to play back growing up. He played that in the NFL, and then he would win games. He's a winner. He has his record of winning is outstanding. And then he has Super Bowl appearances. So
Right.
Yeah, he's been to three of them.
You have to look at the errors too. I mean, when you have to look at the errors and the players that he played with. He's one of the 5 best quarterbacks to play in this era.
In that era, yeah. Yeah, you really can't.
You can't mention Tom Brady without Big Ben.
Yeah,
who
you
else
really
top
can't.
five?
Yeah,
Who else
you-
top
Aaron
five?
Rodgers.
Who's top 5 of the era?
Well, that particular era, you would say top 5 is Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Ben,
Peyton Manning.
and Peyton Manning, and that's
Aaron
4.
Rodgers.
And Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron
Yeah,
Rodgers.
that
Right.
particular set of
That's
quarterbacks
probably
right
about it
there.
Right there, yeah.
That from that time they played, because Aaron Rodgers kind of came in there a little later, but he was balling when he
Yeah.
came in, and of course Peyton and Tom were there. Because
Mhm.
you got to remember, Ben came in with Eli and
Phillip Rivers.
and Phillip
Phillip
Rivers.
Rivers.
They was all in the
He
same
was the
draft
last
class,
pick.
right? And Phillip Rivers hadn't even been to a Super Bowl, and his
Right.
career, and they're done. That class is done. I mean, Eli's already gone.
Yeah, that class is
Ben is next, and Phillip's probably next, and Ben. I could see Ben and Phillip leaving after this season's over. They can
Right.
both just be done because you just watch them play and like, especially Phillip Rivers, you look at him like, oh my god, he just looks horrible out there.
Right.
So
Right.
it'll be interesting to see what Ben looks like this season. But like I said, I don't want to get off into that. But I guess what, we're gonna have more Hall of Fame talk. You know what I mean, and kind of
Mhm.
talk through some of these
Yeah.
players that are maybe still playing or maybe on their last legs, getting ready to get out. And see who's going to go to the Hall of Fame because the Steelers, like you said, the Steelers team Hall of Fame. Hines Ward definitely is definitely a part of that.
Of course.
That's-
Of course.
yeah.
Swan, yeah, exactly.
No question about that. So and I think this year Palomalu's up this year, isn't he? What happened?
He's already in.
He's already okay. I can't remember. I think that was recently. That was just recently.
Yeah.
So those
He's
guys.
already in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
in.
He's going in this year.
Yeah,
He's in this year.
he got picked this year, so he's on this
Yeah.
year. It's his first year of eligible, so he's in, which we knew that was going to happen. That
Yeah.
was not hard to see.
And he's a good example of how players invent new skill sets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody was doing the stuff Polamalu was doing.
No,
until
they weren't.
Polamalu got here.
Yep.
And
Nobody
nobody
was
still
doing the stuff
hasn't
Hines
done
Ward
it.
was doing.
And they still ain't
until
done it.
Hines Ward
Exactly.
got here.
And they still ain't doing what
still ain't
Polamalu
doing it.
did. Well,
Yep.
not
They ain't
Hines
still
Ward.
doing what
No,
Hines Ward either.
nah. People doing what Hines Ward does, but people
No,
not doing what Troy
I
Polamalu
don't-
did.
Not like how Hines
Yeah,
did it.
they're not doing it like Hines was doing. It's
Well,
like
yeah,
Palomalu, man.
well, yeah, of course, because the NFL is not going to allow you to just run and hit people like
Yeah, I guess you
Nah,
can't blast. Yeah, that
linebackers-
is true. You can't blast people
But-
like you used to.
Yeah.
Linebackers ain't trying to like hurt receivers.
Right.
When Hines Ward they was trying to hurt.
They
that
was
man.
trying. Right. They was trying to hurt him.
But they was getting pissed off at what he was doing to them, to
I
the
remember-
corners. And
I
stuff.
remember when he broke that line. What's my linebacker from the Bengals? He broke his jaw that game.
I think it was like Keith Rivers or something.
Yeah. I mean, that was
Might have
nasty, man. He blasted that man. And they
His
said
blindside blocks, yeah.
jaw was broken. So,
Yeah, that was-
but like you said, the total game of the NFL is different now. So you can't even do that no more. Like
Yeah, you
on
can't
either
do
side.
that.
But
That's a
the
flag.
blindside rule, just came though. That's
Yeah.
been that long. Okay,
But-
I mean, so that's receivers ain't been doing that stuff before the rule.
No, Juju just did it a couple of years ago.
Well,
Yeah, he
yeah,
did.
because he learned from Hines Ward, probably. Yeah,
He did.
Juju.
Well, I mean,
That's
yeah,
a Pittsburgh
but
Steeler trait. That's not something
Right.
that everybody does.
I mean, people have been doing blindside blocks for years, and wide receivers been
But
doing
not
it for years.
receivers like punishing people.
Yeah,
like,
not blasting them.
Like Juju
Well,
did
yeah.
and how Hines Ward did.
Receivers were typically thought of as pretty boys on the outside that didn't want no contact. That's pretty much how they were thought. Except unless you was unless you were like a Terrell Owens type. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
came in Calvin Johnson size and you didn't mind the contact. But other than that, receivers were, hey, look, don't touch me. I ain't trying to hit nobody and I ain't trying to get hit.
Yeah,
And
Lynn
that's-
Swan was a ballerina. He
Yeah.
took ballet,
And that's why, you know,
so he could jump. And
they trying to blast Hines Ward coming across the middle. And that's how he used to get him back. You know, he see him and like, hey, the linebacker ain't looking. You about to
Yeah.
get blasted. So.
You know Antonio Brown ain't blasting nobody.
Sure ain't. Antonio Brown don't want to get
Right.
touched. He ain't blocking.
Yeah,
He ain't
Antonio
blocking nobody.
Brown makes plays.
Antonio Brown,
makes
he
plays.
trying to hang his jersey back up when he get home. He ain't even trying to watch that stuff.
Antonio Brown makes plays.
He ain't sweating.
He's the best receiver to ever play for Pittsburgh, man.
Who? Antonio
AB.
Brown. I mean, AB.
Yeah, of course.
Oh man, that's another discussion for another day, boy.
Wait,
I don't know
think so.
about that,
Nobody's
man.
better
Y'all
than
don't-
AB though. Nobody's.
Come
Who's
on,
better?
man.
Who's better than AB to play
Who
for
better than
the
To
AB?
play for the Steelers, man. I
Yeah.
didn't listen. I gotta look around, man. I gotta look
Lynn
Yeah,
around.
Swan days.
no,
For
man,
me to say
that's
that,
it.
because we love Lynn
Right.
Swan. Like, man, we would watch that dude socks back in the '80s, boy. We used to love them guys, Swan and Star Wars. But I don't know, man. I think Brown got them boys.
Yeah, ain't nobody
Maybe
better than AB for
talent-wise,
the
man.
Steelers.
He won't
I mean,
better
yeah,
character-wise, man.
yeah, but we talking about football on the field, man. We're not talking about character.
Well, if you talk, yeah, I mean, if you talk about football, just straight up football, I mean, he's the best. I think he's the best receiver at the time when he was playing. Was the best receiver in the league.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
people were talking about what's his name, OBJ. Man, please.
Nah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Compared to Antonio Brown, I'm like, please, man, I'll take Antonio Brown any day. The only receiver, and even if you just look at receivers active and inactive right now, the only receiver I would take over Antonio Brown right now, current day, is Randy Moss. That would be it. And then I would have AB second. That's the only receiver I would have over Antonio Brown. Is a Randy Moss, Antonio Brown, and I would go down the list from there as far as just
So not Julio. You wouldn't take Julio either.
not over them two.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I would have him later down the list, but you know.
But what Steeler receiver is better than Brown?
I mean, maybe y'all right, man. Maybe you know, I'm looking at it from just a character standpoint too, man. When I think players, I think outside the field too. I want a player like if I'm coaching Steelers and I say my best player, okay, physically, yes, Antonio Brown probably physically on the football field, maybe the best receiver in Steeler history, at least that I've seen. I know he's the best receiver that I've seen on the field. You know what I mean? In my time on the earth for the Steelers, but as a person, I wouldn't take him. I wouldn't want him on my team because he's a cancer.
Yeah.
He's a cancer.
When I look at football players, I don't, and if we're talking about performance and how they are and who's the best, I don't care about their character because that's off the field stuff. We're talking about who's the best performing. I look at the on the field stuff, and that's Antonio Brown, no question about it.
Yeah.
There's never been no Steeler that does what he does like that. There's none.
Well, you always got
at that size.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that dude's like a video game. I don't know, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
It's a shame we never won a Super Bowl with him, man.
Character,
That's
man.
The shame of it all.
Character,
That's
man.
I just want to throw out one other name real quick. Yancey Thigpen.
Yeah, he was good too. Yeah, he was good.
Brother. He
Don't
made
forget
some
about
sweet
him.
Catches. Yeah, he made some sweet catches, man. So,
But yeah,
give him some props there.
My biggest thing about character, man, because character determines whether you're winning or not, no matter how good you are. And y'all know this. I mean, you could have, Al, you own your own company. You could have the best cleaning person in the world, but if he got a bad attitude, and he talking junk all the time, and halfway showing up. But when he do show up, he ball. He man, best cleaner you got. But if he don't, when he don't show up, he like, man, I ain't doing that today. I'm like, dang man, this dude he good, but he only good when he here. And so Antonio Brown, it's like an Antonio Brown. He's great, but he's only great when he's here. When he starts acting up and I'm the man and this and that. Because I don't know if y'all remember Ryan Clark said on ESPN. He said when he got that money is when he started acting funny. So he was like, man, he was like when they paid him, he was like, oh man, I think I see some bad things coming. So
right, yeah, you never know how people change with that money, man.
Yeah, and he kind of got big headed and started acting a fool and acting like Ben wanted to get. If it weren't for Ben, he wouldn't have had them yards. You know what I'm saying? Vice versa. Ben needed him and he needed Ben. You just can't. Receivers got to understand. A receiver's only as good as their quarterback is. As simple as that, man. Period.
That's right.
You could be the best receiver in the world, but if your quarterback can't get you the ball in good spots and be accurate, because it's all about accuracy. A defender can be all over you, but if the quarterback puts the ball in a good spot, a good receiver can make a good play on the ball all the time.
And that's the other thing, about Ben too. Getting back to accuracy, Ben he got more and more accurate in his career. Because you remember Ben wasn't the most accurate quarterback at first.
No, he wasn't. He's just kind of like a gunslinger out there.
Yeah, he's like a backyard quarterback that just slings it down there. But man, he started getting really, really accurate. So that helped Antonio Brown out a lot. Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys got any final thoughts, man. On this, I think that's been a good discussion. I think we probably got some things we can talk about, through the rest of the offseason. The good thing is, like I said, the season is getting ready to crank back up. I saw a picture of Tomlin in the facility today with his mask on, so it looks like they're about to get back started. The NFL did say all the teams have to stay at home for training camp this year, so there's no training camp in Latrobe, and all the teams have to train in their facilities. But the good thing is the season's getting ready to start, and, we got a few more weeks. And, if we want to discuss, y'all let us know what y'all want to hear, man. We got some things. We got some time to discuss some things. Like I said, Antonio Brown talk, some Hall of Fame talk, some coaching talk, Y'all let us know, man. So any final thoughts, fellas?
Well, one thing I want to know is Ben working out with Claypool yet?
Oh,
they need to go find a park somewhere or something. If anybody see these guys working out, y'all send us some pictures or something, man. If y'all can find out about, what Ben doing right about now, or later on in the summer, in the off season, to work out with some of these young receivers.
Yeah, I think it's some guys that are been working out together, because I've seen some on some Instagram videos and stuff.
Yeah, we'd love to see Claypool and Ben out there tossing that ball. Man.
Well, they better get to it, man. And hopefully we got, we get the season and we actually have fans in the stands, man. I think football would be kind of weird without the crowd. You might could do it with some sports, but
that's gonna be weird, man.
That'd be real crazy to have a big old stadium and nobody in there except the team.
That's how it's gonna be, probably, man.
That'd be crazy. That'd be unreal.
You gotta turn the microphones down. It's gonna be a lot of trash talking out there.
Man, what? And watch it on mute.
They ain't lying. They gotta figure that part out for real.
Yeah. So hopefully
they can't just have it quiet.
Yeah. So hopefully that don't happen, man. But anyway, appreciate y'all joining in. Y'all like and subscribe, man. Y'all share the show and let us know what y'all want to hear. Until next time, we'll holler at y'all. Peace.
Still a nation and throw that around your head. Get your towers up, get your terrible towers up. Still the diamonds, yellow, blue, and red. Coming at you hard, like Harrison on the blitz, Palu Malu style. You can call it a pick, Lombardi trophies.